morning. We're going to talk about arts and culture. And our goal was to figure out ways to offer a variety of arts and cultural opportunities for the community. And I want to draw your attention to the image on this slide, because this is, to me, an incredibly powerful public art piece that happens to be in New Zealand in front of a library. And it's a young girl who's reading a book, and as the words are drifting off of the page, it actually, to most of us, looks like a jungle. And the reason being is the girl portrayed is dyslexic. And so what this sculpture has to do is to talk about the variety of ways people learn and engage in the community and the world around them. And if you sit on any of the seats on either side of her, they're talking seats. They're words by people who have dyslexia talking about what it's like in order to be part of a community, to be part of a world that you see things differently and what that does in terms of challenges. And there are other similar sculptures, again, in this plaza around the library that talk about other disabilities, you know, whether they be visual, speech, etc. And so, again, the idea is that art can be emotionally powerful, it can be informative, it can be perception changing, it can be inspiring, it can challenge us, or it can simply depict what we see every day and take for granted. The people who came together for this particular task group included Lori Burnaby, Peggy Brierton, Larry Rankin, Carol Carbine, Meg Thiel, Puck Erickson, and Mary Jane Edelapour. We are all artists of some sort. Some of us are professionally trained, others are students or are amateur artists. We also are business people, we have public relation backgrounds, we have arts administration backgrounds. We come from a variety of different, excuse me, a variety of different directions, but we all are of the arts as well. In addition, we also met with the Buellton Historical Society, and they opted not to physically be involved in our meetings, but wanted to stay in the loop in terms of emails, in terms of what it is that our group discussed and did. We formally met 4 times, though we spent many hours researching and sharing the data that we had collected. And one of the first things we did was to agree upon a vision related to arts and culture for Buellton. And the entire vision statement is in our Appendix 5 of our report. However, simply stated, it describes a prosperous Buellton where innovations in arts and culture engage people of all ages and in all aspects of life, while providing a base for sustained economic growth and development.
So these are the stated objectives. We determined that all 3 objectives are equally important and they need to be approached and tackled simultaneously for this goal to be achieved. But that being said, we did list them in an order of priority there. Next are the 3 primary themes. These 3 themes emerge from the strategy our group developed and is proposing. The best description that collectively captures these themes is creative placemaking, which describes ways in which arts, culture, and creativity, when expressed powerfully through place, can create vibrant communities that in turn increase the economic and civic opportunities for people to thrive. This is a dynamic concept that the National Endowment for the Arts provides, such a dynamic concept that the National Endowment for the Arts provides investment resources from $25,000 to $250,000 through their Our Town grant program to support creative placemaking. Programs and projects for across the country can be supported through that grant. This is one example of a grant program that Buellton can use to seek funding to help realize some of the initiatives that we're proposing.
So when our task group began its work, we found that there were a number of additional action items that needed to be added to what was already presented through the visioning workshops in order to realistically fulfill our goal number 3. So what we did is that each new or amended objective and action item we kind of signified just to make it really, really clear of what has been changed. And the other thing is that in our report, which for those of you who read it might have realized, we also suggest partnerships, because partnerships are going to be absolutely integral in making this happen in this community, probably making any of our various areas work. So we tried very hard to look at what are the strategic partnerships that need to occur.
311 regulation reform. We felt that this was probably our top priority. Buellton needs to create or reform some regulations to attract and retain artists to locate their studios and workspaces in Buellton. For example, the home occupation regulations, so artists are allowed to open their homes and studios up to potential clients by appointment. Wayfinding street signage to direct people to art galleries and public-private art culture facilities. Temporary banners to direct people to artist studios. And designation of a community-wide arts and design district. 312 is self-explanatory. We did add outdoor public gallery space. 313, one example of how we can promote Buellton area artists and artisans, culture and assets, and encourage more economic development through tourism is to create a self-guided cultural arts map that can be accessed online, and printed out brochures found at our Visitors Bureau and in hotels. 314, the partnerships. 315, 316, the public art is a hallmark in arts communities. To recruit local or non-local artists and other community members and organizations to create art and unique architectural embellishments for public spaces and development projects requires the city to adopt a percent for arts program that assesses a fee on all new capital improvement projects over a certain amount, a dollar amount, and administrating a professionally run selection process to identify high-quality artisans and others to implement these projects.
This is festivals and events that celebrate arts and culture will help build Buellton's reputation as an arts and cultures community. A special events committee is essential for ensuring the success of large-scale community events, and we enthusiastically support the formation of such a committee. 3.2.2 is about the visitor center. That's a new one that we added. We believe Buellton needs to be positioned as the must-see first stop on any visit to the Santa Ynez Valley. Creating a visitor center that offers a unique glimpse of our region is one way to make this happen. The visitor center we've described in Appendix 1 recommends telling the story of our valley through its unique geography and geology and how these factors have influenced our social, agricultural, and cultural history, leading up to being one of the premier wine-producing areas in California. The Visitor Center could also become the home for the Buellton Historic Society.
(3.3.1) While self-governed art councils are characteristic, we are recommending that the creation of an independent Arts and Culture Development Council is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. This council has envisioned to develop and implement programs that support local artists and skilled craftsmen and expand arts and culture opportunities in our wonderful town of Buellton. Such an organization would need to draw upon knowledge and judgment of all arts professionals, existing arts and culture organizations, and other interested arts enthusiasts from throughout the San Ynez Valley. Examples of services this organization would include developing partnerships with artists, skilled craftsmen, businesses, nonprofit community services, and patrons of all fine arts and crafts, promoting artists, skilled craftsmen, culture organizations, arts-friendly businesses, and art cultural collectives, not only within the Buellton area, but in the San Ynez Valley. Overseeing an art gallery that would showcase artworks and skilled craftsmen and promote small performing arts events for all ages until the Arts Center is built. Maintaining an art calendar of events and websites.
3.3.2, ongoing arts and cultural programming. We strongly support the creation of a new civic center complex that would include a library/community center and resource center. The center would provide ongoing arts and cultural programming, a community art gallery, as well as ongoing support of small and emerging business enterprises, including IT, facilities, and meeting rooms. A more detailed vision of this new civic complex is described in Appendix 2.
3.3.3, the Arts Center or task force has a vision would provide flexible space for visual and performing arts and professionally taught hands-on classes and workshops for all ages. It would also provide space for arts exhibits, performing arts performances, and small theater productions would be a great for the city of Buellton. This is significant, credible evidence in the value of arts in education, no matter what age. The arts teaches the very skilled wealth and resources prices such as building, team building, problem solving, calculated risk-taking, and thinking out of the box. The Arts Center would also offer a source of employment opportunities for professional artists and become a significant tourist draw which would be beneficial in our great town of Buellton. Just as an example, I know that I've seen a lot of places, as far as the visualizing of what goes on within Buellton, it'd be really nice if we could go ahead and get something where the city council and et cetera would really start working on that. If you look at Paso Robles, they've really done something very creative and made that town really bloom. I was in Pasadena Museum not that long ago, and when I went to the old town 15 years ago was totally destroyed. They brought arts back into it and restaurant. Now it's a tourist attraction. You know what I'm talking about. You see you shaking your head. It's beautiful. I mean, it's really done well, and it's very profitable for the whole city. And that's what we want for the city of Buellton, is to make it something special, not just a town that people drive through or a gateway. Because this really has everything to offer, as the other gentleman had said. We're right in the midst of things, so it'd be really nice if we get something like that going. Thank you.
So, in line with that, the last one, 3.3.4, has to do with grow progressive arts and cultural leadership. It doesn't just happen. It needs to be nurtured. Arts and culture leaders need to be included in meetings that provide an understanding of the depth, breadth, and complexity of community issues associated with effective and lasting economic development outcomes. Thank you, Jason. So how do we get from here to there? The Arts and Culture Report lists 8 key action items that are needed to be undertaken by the City of Buellton. And I'm not listing them all here, they're in the report. But additionally, and probably equally important, Public-private nonprofit partnerships are amazingly important, as is community participation and engagement in cultivating outside funding sources.
And as far as our recommendations go, recommendation number 1, the arts and culture component of tourism continues to enjoy record growth. High-quality arts and cultural events, festivals, public art projects attract media attention. And the arts are also proven successful components of downtown revitalization strategies and in the redevelopment of commercial areas. We believe it is essential that Buellton distinguish itself from the other San Ynez Valley communities, as well as within Santa Barbara County and the Central Coast. Recommendation 2, the formation and integration of an Arts and Cultural Development Council into the fabric of our community is a key element to Buellton's future. It will build cultural bridges, strengthen our sense of community, and enhance the quality of life for all ages. And recommendation 3. The arts are a powerful economic engine that produces jobs, generates tax revenue and spending. Public-private nonprofit partnerships are essential to building a visitor center, a new library, a community resource center, as well as an art center. And the final recommendation, a public arts program would add visible distinction to and be a tourist attraction for Buellton. So, thank you very much.
What else? The best way to help us get from here to there is to becoming involved. All of us becoming involved, talking to our friends, talking to our neighbors, getting them excited about the possibilities of what can happen in our community. And again, this is even just beyond arts and culture. It's with what all of our task groups are doing. We need to talk it up. We need to get people excited about it. In relationship to arts and culture, artists and artisans can't do this alone. To achieve this goal requires a genuine commitment to create powerful partnerships at all levels. And it also requires us to have patience. All of this is not going to be created overnight. It's going to take time, but there's much we can do in the short term to position ourselves for success. And also, money isn't the problem. And I hope, again, with all of what it is we're talking about today, we don't kind of let money kind of be the thing that keeps holding us back. There is money out there waiting to be invested in good ideas, and we've just presented you with a number of, I think, great ideas. Every dollar invested in arts and culture will stimulate Buellton's economy and improve our quality of life, not only today, but for generations of tomorrows. Each of our groups are bringing to the table great ideas. Please, let's say yes to Buellton's future. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's make a commitment to each other that we're going to start working together, and let's make it happen. Thank you. No questions? Yes.
I've heard you folks compare Buellton to Paso Robles and how wonderful they are.
That should be my response then, when you ask.
I've heard it from many people. That's a larger metropolitan area than we are. We're a community like.
Why are you afraid to grow?
Yeah, Ron, also everything is going to be scaled. Everything is going to be scaled.
Yeah, Ron. Yeah.
I like that as a goal, but it's unfair. We do not have the economic resources, the population, to have what they have.
That's because we waste a lot of money in a lot of other areas.
We can get started. My question is, how many square feet are you talking about if Buellton plans to have a civic center that puts our post office and our city government and our libraries and whatever else we could put together, maybe a parking garage? How many square feet do you envision to get started?
We're not talking, well, hold on. personally, in our presentation, we're not talking about that. We're talking about within a civic complex, there being a library and a community resource center. In terms of how many square feet that would be,
No, forget those. I'm talking about for the cultural, drama, theater, whatever it is that,
the art center,
yeah.
well, I can't tell you how many square footage
Well, I
it's
think
going
you
to
ought to
be.
work on that because.
Well, wait a minute. Again, this is a broad plan. What's going to drive this is what was suggested, and that is a private, nonprofit,
Foundation?
the Arts and Culture Development Council. In terms of then going out and seeing what other buy-ins there is in this valley in order to see what in fact are the needs, where people are willing to invest, and how people want to come together, if at all. So right now, we haven't done that level of detail, and we're not going to. I mean, it can't happen until we get a direction
Well, some of us
from
want
the
to
city.
build Buellton.
Wait a minute. Can I finish, please? Until we get a direction that in fact Buellton is supportive of even moving in this direction. So, you know, it works both ways. As I said, artists and artisans aren't going to be able to do this alone. It's going to take partnership.
And a partnership would be with the town also, for them to accept, and I understand that. But it's just the idea that I think that the town also is wasting a lot of money in a lot of other areas that could be dedicated to the Avenue of Flags and other projects. So I don't think we should even go into that part as far as what is something going to cost until we get something resolved here. We don't have a resolve at this point. We're just trying to get things going for this community that's going to be acceptable and it's going to be workable for everyone, not just for one individual.
And it's going to
or
have to
other
be, and
ideas.
it's going to have to be scaled for Buellton and for the needs of the San Ynez Valley. I mean, we're not going to be able to build what happens in Pasadena or what happens someplace else.
Those are just examples of how beautiful something can become and how profitable it could be for everyone, not just an individual.
I just had more of a structural question. That the 4 recommendations that you had at the end, were those more highlights of what was included in some of the other?
Yeah.
Okay, because the incubator, I didn't see the other recommendations. So those were more.
Well, if you read our entire
full things
report,
in
it's there.
So are those? Would you say that those are sort of the 4 highest priority items for the group that you?
No, the priorities are in our report.
Right, but
And
since
so-
you highlighted those 4, I was just curious why.
Well, because those are probably the most visible.
Drivers, okay.
The things that can actually galvanize the community to want to work towards something together.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thanks.